Today we're going over some of the best four-door cars in all of GTA Online. Each of the cars we're going over today are super underrated and have extremely high value. If you guys do not own any of these four-door cars, I definitely highly recommend buying them for your garages. And getting straight into it, we start off with one of my favorite four-door sports cars in this entire game, which is the Ocelot Jugular. The Jugular is pretty pricey, but it is worth it. The performance of this vehicle makes it seem like one of the best sports cars in the entire game. And as you can see, based off the looks, it is a really good looking vehicle. The Jugular was first introduced in the Diamond Casino Heist update, so it is a fairly new vehicle. And if you want to buy this car for yourself, it's going to be at the Legendary Motorsport website for around $1.2 million. So you can expect to fully upgrade this car with about a $1.5 million budget. And I honestly think that the $1.2 million for this car is completely worth it. You're able to customize this car a lot. There's a lot of different customizations, and based off the performance of this vehicle, it is definitely worth it. And you can put this up against a lot of other different sports cars and it can definitely compete. So like I said, the Jugular performance is really good. You can see the top speed is over 4 bars and dipping even well into that 5 bar category, and the acceleration with the turbo and the upgraded transmission, you can get this all the way up to 5 total bars. And as you can see at the top of the categories, there's 24 different sections, which for a 4-door car is actually pretty decent. So starting off with the customizations, we're looking at the front bumper, which as you can see, we have the extended splitter. Now there's a couple different options for the rear and front bumpers. Mostly are the carbon variants or secondary and primary color variants. I noticed a lot of the different customizations for this vehicle have carbon based parts with it, so if you want, you could literally just make a fully carbon car. But moving on, the fenders, I just kept it completely stock. Some of those other variants just didn't look good at all. For the grills, I think any of these grills really look good. I ended up going with the last one. And then the hood, we kept it pretty simple with the sleek vented hood. And again, there's a lot of different customizations for the hood that you can go with. And then heading into livery, a lot of different race decals that you can add to this car. I noticed that the Ocelot stripe looked really good on like a black primary paint job. So again, you can get very creative with this car is what I'm trying to say. And again, almost any different primary color looks really good on this car. But moving on to our roof, we have a stock roof, and again, you can literally make this car completely carbon if you wanted to. I ended up just going with the stock roof, obviously. And then for the skirts, the only carbon that I put on this car was the carbon lip skirts, and again, a couple different customizations there. And then we have the spoiler, which I was debating going back and forth between the secondary and just the regular street wing. I ended up going with the black because I think it matched a little bit better with the different accents that this car has to offer. And then heading into wheels, we have a sport wheels, which are the low speed Mark V. I just think these ones look the best. And then when you add the frost white, or I think it's ice white for this, the car just really pops with these wheels, and I think they look the best. But yeah, that is all that we have for the Ocelot Jugular. The Jugular, again, is one of my favorite sports cars in the entire game, regardless if it is 4 doors or not. I highly recommend, if you guys are looking for a new car, to go with the Jugular. Just take a chance on it. But let's get right into our next vehicle, which is the Coil Raiden, which was first introduced into the GTA universe with the Doomsday Heist update. The Doomsday Heist update came out in 2017, so the Raiden is kind of an OG vehicle for GTA players. I also think the Raiden is one of the very first electric cars to come to GTA Online. It's obviously based off of the Tesla in real life, but with that being said, since it is an electric car, you can't add a turbo to it. But that is not necessarily a bad thing, because since it is electric, the acceleration is already insane, which is why this has made the list as one of my favorite 4-door cars. Now, unfortunately, you cannot purchase this vehicle anywhere on the websites in GTA Online. It did not make the cut when Rockstar deleted a bunch of cars from the game, but you still have chances to find this car, whether it's in a dealership or on the podium vehicles, whether that's in the casino or in the LS car meet. Now, as you can see, the performance of the Raiden is actually almost identical with the Jugular. The top speed is almost the same, and don't let the acceleration fool you. Just because you can't have a turbo on this car, the acceleration is still really good for a sports car. And as you can see, categories, there are only 18 different categories, which means there's not a whole lot of different customizations and different add-ons that you can have to this vehicle. Heading into the customizations, I ended up going with the carbon splitter for the front bumper, and then the rear bumper we have the race diffuser. I think that just looked and matched the best here. For the hood, there's a couple of different customizations. I don't know why for these four-door cars you can add so much carbon. We ended up just keeping it completely stock. There are a couple different mirror customizations. You can change it from a secondary, carbon, or a primary. I think a lot of different colors work really well with these four-door cars. I have mine as a red. Heading into the skirts, again, a couple different customizations. As you can see, there's just not a whole lot that you can change with this vehicle. And then you got the spoiler, which has the most different options that you can have, which I find to be really weird, especially since this car is based off of a Tesla. Heading into the wheels, we have 59 sports wheels, which again I think just match the car the best. Painted them black, and I think they match really well. And again, you just really don't have too much customizations for this car, but I think as it is stock, it actually does look pretty decent. But that is all that we have with the Coil Raiden. If you guys can somehow find this either on a podium prize wheel or in one of the dealerships in GTA, I highly recommend going ahead and buying this vehicle. It is definitely a must-have in GTA Online. Next up, we have a car that I think every single GTA Online player is going to recognize, which is the Karen Kuruma. The Karen Kuruma was first introduced in GTA 3 and then later introduced in GTA Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 4 Liberty City. And it first made its appearance in this title, GTA Online, with the heist update. Now there's two different versions to the Kuruma. There's the armored version, which is on screen right now, and then there's also a base stock version that you can also buy, which is a lot more cheaper. The base Kuruma that you can buy is only about $100,000, and then the armored Kuruma is around $550,000. But like I was saying, the Kuruma came out in the heist update, which was around 2015. So that being said, a lot of OG players have once owned this vehicle, and in GTA Online, this was one of the very first armored cars that we could actually buy to protect ourselves from those crazy griefers. Now, since this is an older vehicle, there's not going to be a whole lot of different customizations. As you can see, a four-door car doesn't have much customizations as is, and then adding that onto a very early release car, there's only 18 different customizations, and those customizations really don't add any value to the car once it's all said and done. When we look at the performance of the Kuruma, you're not going to get a whole lot. The top speed doesn't even reach a full 4 bars. The acceleration, obviously with turbo upgraded transmission, is going to reach that full length, but the top speed just lacked. But even with the lower performance rate than the other two vehicles in this video, the Kuruma is still one of the best four-door cars, just for the fact that it has a fully armored kit attached to the car. Now, even though that there's 18 different categories to choose from, there's really not a whole lot of different options within those categories. So yes, there's 18 different categories, which is actually kind of a lot for a cheaper car. But as you can see within the hood, the spoiler, or the skirts, there's just only a few options per category, which is a huge downfall for the Kuruma. Even with all that being said, I still do think that the Kuruma should be up there when you're talking about the best four-door sports cars in the game. But that is all that I have for today's video, going over my favorite and what I think are the best four-door sports cars in the entire game. Now, obviously, there are some really expensive four-door cars out there, so this is obviously going to be targeted towards the more cheaper side. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe down below. I upload GTA videos every single week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.